people, I am Jaby. With me is Brian Finifter.
Hello, greetings.
And Ray Duran.
Hello.
So news has broken out today that there are aliens in space.
Well,
basically.
There might be aliens
there might
in
be
space.
aliens. And so I wanted to get together with these guys just to chat about that a little bit and maybe give you guys some more factual sounding information. Factual sounding, not facts.
right.
Tell them real quick about like what you know.
I know everything.
You know everything.
I'm a big space nerd. I've been a space nerd since I was a kid. A very unpopular space nerd, but space has gotten more popular.
Yes.
Sadly, I have not gotten more popular along with it.
I work in the industry. That's about all that I can say officially because I don't have any official PR approval, but also I am a space nerd and have been since I was a kid. When I was in grade school, I did my first report on Galileo and was subsequently stuffed in my locker for it afterwards. But the specific star in question is KIC 8462852. So basically, he had it written down. Thank you. Of the light that's been observed from that particular star, there have been objects that have been passing in front of that star, and the obstruction of the light, they've been able to measure the approximate size of what those objects are. Now, to give you kind of an idea about a sense of scale, a similar obstruction of, say, the planet Jupiter in front of our star would be about 1% of our star's light that gets obstructed. We're seeing between 15 and 22% of light that's being obstructed.
Which is huge. It's way more than I've ever seen.
And what's strange about it is that these obstructions, they're very irregular.
Kepler is a telescope that's been up there looking for planets for years. And the way it detects them is when a planet crosses in front of its sun, the sun dips a little bit.
Right.
And then that happens regularly, the same way, you know, a planet orbits regularly. So they can say, okay, the sun dipped by that much every, 5 days or whatever it is. And so they go, okay, so that's the orbit of that planet because that dips regularly. Right. And what's so weird about this one is not only that it's so much more, because we look at giant Jupiter-like planets passing in front of the stars and it's like 5% maybe.
Right.
It's so much more in terms of percentage, but it's also this really crazy irregular pattern that doesn't look like a planet passing in front of its star.
Now, what were some of the things they were trying to attribute it to other than aliens? Because I know comets was one.
Okay, so one of the leading theories right now is the fact that it's very possible that there might have been some other gravitational body that had passed through this system, say maybe another star, maybe a rogue planetoid, something of a very large mass, that combined with the star itself, it might have affected other items in the vicinity, such as maybe a cluster of comets, maybe a large meteor shower.
Right.
And again, this is all speculation, but the reason why everyone's still excited about it is because, from a cosmic sense, considering the sheer amount of light that's being displaced, this would have to be a huge amount of debris that got pulled in. Of course, we all want to hope that it's something really fantastical and really amazing. I mean, the thoughts of contact keep on... Look, I know. I want to go put on my Carl Sagan cosplay just as much as the rest of you guys.
Billions.
Well,
20%, right? That's what you were saying?
Well, between 15 and 22% obstructed percentage of that light.
So does that mean something is just staying in front of it?
Well, no. So like Brian was saying, it's dipping. So there's something
is passing in front of it.
Right, and
that's bigger than Jupiter.
Well,
it's blocking more light than Jupiter would.
Right,
that's the thing.
It's not that it's literally Jupiter's size. It's
so
just
it's the Death Star moving towards us, essentially. We don't have any conceptual idea of the shape of these things, right? Like we have no idea. It's just a dip in light that we're measuring.
Right.
We're making assumptions off of that.
Yes. But the thing that makes this interesting and not like anything that's happened before is the fact that it doesn't follow any of the patterns. Kepler, the telescope, and other observations because they've been doing observations and they've been finding exoplanets, planets in other solar systems for like 20 years now. But this is like a fundamentally different pattern than anything we've seen in the thousands of other observations and discoveries that they have made so far. So that's the thing where it's like, okay, this is definitely something new. None of our first guesses at what it could be really actually fit all of the data we have. And there's holes in the sense of okay, well, it could be this, it might be this, but we weren't looking at it at this moment in time to tell if it was that or not.
Right.
So the next thing they're just going to do is keep looking at it as they can and hopefully get the more data that they need.
Okay, so let's assume it is alien life. Let's just ponder for a second, right?
Yeah.
Given the size of whatever they are, can we assume that if it is alien life, can they see us?
That makes a lot of assumptions, a whole lot of assumptions, because the biggest thing is we're looking that way. We have no way of knowing if they're looking back this other way.
If you make the assumption that it's aliens.
Yeah.
In order for that structure to be blocking that much light, because you're talking about a 1/5 of the light that star is putting out. It's an enormous, enormous number.
You need a lot of stormtroopers.
you need a really, really massive... again, assuming it's a structure that a human creature, an intelligent creature built, that's a massive, massive structure.
Right.
So there's this concept that this guy called Freeman Dyson came up with a long time ago, saying basically the best way to get the most amount of energy from a sun and from a star possible is to build literally a sphere around it and to capture every then you would capture every little single joule of energy. It would take an enormous amount of resources and energy and just material to build a full sphere, right?
Yeah.
So there's some modifications of variants on that idea of say, okay, well maybe you don't build a full sphere. Maybe you build a ring, like kind of a halo or ring world kind of a thing. It could be that kind of mega structure that civilization built. The thing then is like, okay, if they did build that, then you're kind of assuming that it's the kind of civilization that could have started colonizing other solar systems.
Right, exactly.
Right. They've got the capabilities to do something of that scale.
Exactly.
That's the thing.
And that goes into the even deeper question of what's called the Fermi paradox, which is, okay, there's billions of stars in the galaxy and there's billions of galaxies out there. Odds are there is somebody else out there of our comparable intelligence, right? Just running the numbers by themselves,
right?
There has to be,
yeah,
right. So then Enrico Fermi, one of the famous scientists of our age, worked in the Manhattan Project, came up with the Fermi paradox, which literally is just the question of, well, then where the hell are they?
Right.
Because they should be there. And if you look at the timescale of the galaxy and the universe, if even we're far enough into the history of the universe at this point that if it's that common, then one civilization should have basically been able to colonize everywhere by now. And we can look in the sky and see that hasn't happened. So that's the big fundamental question. So again, assuming this is that thing, then you're still going back to that question of if they were there, then why aren't they everywhere else?
Exactly. So, which brings up, well, I mean, I was thinking about the great filter theory that's been going around a little bit. If you've heard about that,
no, I have no idea what that is.
So the idea is that taking into account that fact that all right, if this is possible, why hasn't that culture or maybe 2 or 3 of them expanded into the large reaches of our galaxy? And the concept of the great filter is that there is some series of elements or things, be it a natural catastrophe, be it a man-made catastrophe, things that could impede the development of a civilization to where they never get to that point.
Right.
And the idea that is there literally a tipping point to where a civilization gets past all these things, all these issues, either technological or social development, to the point to where now they can actually go out and start building Dyson spheres, colonizing the galaxy, and that if this filter does exist, for all we know, as our culture develops and gets to a higher point, maybe we'll hit that ceiling and there is no way past that filter. We don't know.
Because there's lots of different ideas about what filters might be. Obviously, nuclear war is one. Climate change is one. So it's like, okay, are we up against a great filter now in the sense of how we're responding to climate change and whether or not we're doing a good enough job?
Right.
Is there some other great filter down the road, things like artificial intelligence explosions, bioweapons and nanotechnology and that sort of thing. Like any one of those things are what are called existential risks that one person or a small group of people could have a bad day with any one of those things, and that's it for all of us, right?
Exactly, and that's even just...
And those all could be great filters.
So when you guys heard about this discovery, were you either of you at all remotely scared?
No.
Well, not.
I was trying to keep myself from getting excited.
Yes,
strictly excited.
The primary emotion.
No, like Independence Day popped into your brain for a split second.
Because it's like 600 light years away, right?
Well, no, 1,500 light years away.
1,500.
Yeah. The reason why I don't think there's any real fear is because I kind of feel special in that our generation, because we've grown up with science fiction and other things that have kind of opened our minds to the possibility of just other things and other possibilities.
Right.
There's a lack of a certain level of fear. Now that could be detrimental because maybe a healthy fear would be good if they were hostile.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is that this is one of the more core things, is that any civilization that got to the point where they could do those things, the hope is that they would have gotten past the point where they would be aggressive, they would want to be, colonial, they would want to push their influence, in some intense way.
As much of a Star Trek utopian idealist optimist that I am, I'm not scared, but not because I think they would be necessarily be peaceful or necessarily be evolved towards us.
Right.
I do, because I think the questioning contact is a very good one. It's like, well, why would you go to Africa to step on a anthill?
Exactly.
But if you did, how bad would you feel? Like, I really feel like that would be that would be a problem,
right?
And so if I felt like there were an intelligence there, and that for whatever reason they were coming to Africa to us, I would be worried about the anthill problem.
Yes,
but I don't think they're going to be doing it. Okay, that's why.
Did you guys ever hear Neil deGrasse Tyson answering the question of talking to aliens? Like, could we talk to aliens? Could we communicate with aliens?
And the difference, yes. Aliens trying to talk to us would be like us trying to talk to an ant.
Yeah. Well, exactly. He was explaining that we have a 1% difference between us and apes.
Right.
And we can't even really communicate with them. Yeah. So, like, we think it's cute when they can do math or put shapes into a shape hole. Right. Yeah. And it's like, oh, wow, great job. That's probably what aliens would think of us doing astrophysics and whatnot.
Yeah.
And so we wouldn't be able to...
Look, they landed on their moon.
Look at that.
That's adorable.
Yeah. Oh, no. They still have to deal with relativity if they go faster than light. Okay, well, they'll get there at some point.
You just reminded me of this comic strip I saw where Earth looks sick and Moon's like, what's wrong? And Earth is like, I got humans. And Moon's like, I'm sorry. And then he's like, what is that? And it's like a rocket coming out. No! He's like, oh no, I got it too.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We have to try. We have to make some attempt at all, and even if it comes to where we can't communicate, the sheer fact that we're at least sending up a smoke signal in some way, I mean, we're kind of hoping maybe there would be like, oh, that's cute. You know, and there's at least some
I just want to know that there's something else out there.
Yeah.
Even if there's no sense of like... Because right now there is no sense of like warp drive might be possible. I know that kind of science article pops up every now and then, but it's not really true. Like, we're not really anywhere close to having that.
Yeah, we're a long
maybe
way.
Someday, but not anytime soon.
Exactly.
I just really like, that's the one thing I want to know before I die, is like to have that question answered of like, is there something else out there that's like us?
Simply just want to know if we're alone or not. Yeah. And to be completely honest with our fears, it is a crippling fear to realize that we are alone. So the drive to find that we're not, I think that's what's behind a lot of where that comes from, that inspiration. So.
All right. Well, that was fun. Thank you guys for joining us in this conversation. Do you have a Twitter account?
I do. Brian Finifter, just my name. F-I-N-I-F-T-E-R-S.
At Duran, yes, like the character from Lord of the Rings. No, that wasn't intentional. Originally, it was going to be a Jedi name that I had made up in a story, but that's a whole different part of my background.
Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and give this a like if you liked it. Peace out.